We have just put out our first quarter, but this is off the back of a full year last year when we did deliver to our guidance number, but more than that, two other important things happened. We did, in our view, confirm that the key elements of our strategy are actually right, because that is effectively what we've been rolling out for the course of the year. And the second thing we did was we also proved both to ourselves and external audiences that we could actually execute. And I remember when we originally put out the strategy, a lot of people were saying to us, yeah, the strategy makes good sense, but can Myer actually pull it off? Can we actually execute? And I feel that those are two other important dimensions of how the first year panned out. Over the course of that year, we really were operating across four major streams. The first one was about changing the brand mixes in our stores. We introduced a lot of new, cool and edgy brands to appeal to the customer that we were going after. And over the course of the year, we put in another 850 new brand installations into the business, which have materially changed the offer that we've got for the customer. The second big thing we did was invest significantly in customer service throughout the business. And that was about rebalancing labour across the different stores, really putting labour into the premium and flagship locations. And at the same time of that, the concessions that we were introducing with the business also came with a labour supply as well, which significantly also lifted the amount of labour we had on the shop floor. The third major component was a heavy investment in online and what we call omni-channel, a very integrated offer that includes a lot of in-store components like the My Customer Orders, where staff can order on behalf of customers, and also the click and collect offer as well, which is important to the overall omni-channel offer. And you'll have seen in our results we lifted omni-channel sales by 74% year on year, which means that we are taking market share in omni-channel. And the final area that we've been focusing on through the course of the year is getting more out of the assets across our business. We've been focusing on productivity as a key measure, which is addressed both through growing the top line of the business, but also through rationalising and addressing the footprint that we've got for the business. We think of productivity in terms of sales per square metre. So throughout the course of the year, the investments that we've been making to grow the top line obviously grow productivity, and at the same time, by removing some of the space, and we announced the closure of a number of stores, 3 in fact close in FY16, and a further one closes the following year as well. Combining those together, we've just announced in the quarter just gone actually that our productivity had increased by 6%, which is again testament to that journey that we've been on. Two notable things have happened over the course of the last few weeks. The first one has been all around spring racing and the significant, both from a branding point of view, the significant lift to our branding, but also the significant sales generation opportunity presented by that, which is a great kick-off into the start of the Christmas season. And as you'll have seen from the publicity around it, we had a great season of racing. And the second thing was then getting ourselves set up for Christmas, which included the introduction of our Giftorium offer, which is significantly lifted on last year. The introduction of Wonderland at Myer, which is a new full makeover of level 6 of the Sydney flagship store, which is a whole experiential shopping experience for kids and families with a lot of technology involved, a lot of personalisation, which is very, very strong. And that being the setup for Christmas, and then the launch of Warringah, which took place last week, which was, for us, a real statement about what we mean about New Myer. We had the opportunity to take a store which had been closed for 9 months, so we really did have a broad blank canvas on which to work, and we put together something which was designed to demonstrate a step change in our thinking. Pretty much every element of the store had been redesigned. Everything from the brands that we had been localised to the local Northern Beaches market. The service proposition, we'd put people through a completely different training programme. We'd put a different level of omni-channel into business, including our Myer hub. And in actual fact, in that store as well, we actually downsized the size of the actual total box, took a whole floor out, increased the intensity and therefore the sense of energy on the shop floor. And we launched that last week, and it was quite extraordinary. It's generated an awful lot of internal industry discussion, just what a step change it is for Myer. When we actually put out our quarter results, as we've just done, obviously they don't reflect those initiatives that we've done just over the course of the last few weeks, but what we put out there was an absolute sales increase on last year of 0.6%, a comp number of 1.6%, but importantly, in the flagship and premium stores, which is where the bulk of our investment has actually been going, we actually put out a comp number of 2.8%. And that really is demonstrating this notion that we're putting our capital where we're getting the best return. And that seems to be where our strategy is biting, and that's where we're getting the biggest improvements across the business. Just one thing to note on the absolute number of 0.6%. That is comping against last year, of course. And last year we were running what we called a spring clean sale, where we were actually clearing through many of the brands that we were actually exiting as part of a brand rationalisation programme. So it's becoming increasingly difficult in times of significant change to use the year-on-year comparisons of the numbers and read a lot into them, because the base is actually moving as well. And I think this is one of the issues that is making it very confusing to look at the retail market at the moment, is that the ABS are putting out their numbers, but in a sector like department stores, which is relatively small, with all the key players making significant changes to their model who sit in the ABS data, it can be very misleading to what are month-by-month data that are actually being put out. But in actual fact, quite often it's the baseline that's moving as much as it is some kind of trend being inferred from the current stats. So I think you have to be careful with that. Obviously, the result that we put out at the end of the first quarter, broadly speaking, was positively received and was very important internally within our organisation, because people have been talking about how tough the markets are, and from our own internal point of view, it's great that the teams get to see the traction that we're making. It's quite energising to know that the business is starting to make significant change, and then to see the customers respond to that, which of course you see in the revenue number, is very encouraging. Our focus for this year is about delivering EBITDA ahead of sales growth, which is going to create a positive operating leverage. It'll be the first time in many years that we grow the NPAT number, and we're also pledging to increase the NPAT number both pre the implementation costs of this transformation journey and post the implementation costs as well. And obviously, I believe we have the management team in place and the initiatives locked down to make sure that we can pull the levers to be able to deliver on that promise, irrespective of the fact that there's quite a volatile market out there, a lot of commentary on market data on consumer confidence, what's going on overseas, what's happening with exchange rates and all of that. But I believe that through the initiatives that we put in place, we're building an increasingly resilient business, and combined with the strengths of the internal management team, I believe we've got the resources to be able to control that.